Good morning, everyone, and thanks for coming to our last meeting of the year. Actually, appreciate the good turnout. I actually did not expect to have this many people, so thank you to all of you for coming, and thank you to our affiliates. Just want to make an announcement on that. We have Jovia Financial, Andrew Salick, Abrams Garfinkel, Margolis Bergson, Neil Garfinkel, Porcelli Deegan, Tarana, Doug Atkins, Inspector First, Mitchell Allen is in the room this morning. Realty Zap, Tom Bible, the Best Painting Pro, Steve Catalano, who is in the room with us this morning and brought us a sign. And BBA Photography, Mr. Bill Mosley. And last but not least, Mr. Michael Ferruggia, who is going to spend 5 minutes with Mike with us this morning.
Oh, we have time. Give him 7.
Okay.
I'll give you the Evelyn Wood. And welcome to the last edition of The Good, the Bad, the Politically Ugly for 2023. My name is Michael Ferruggia. I'm the attorney in charge of the real estate division of the law firm of Bruno Giardino, also board counsel to the Hamptons Norfolk Realtors Association. So I am a realtor advocate, so I am advocating for you guys. So, as you know, I do like to lead with the good. We are just bombarded with, a lot of doom, gloom, bad news in our industry, so I'm going to lead, as I always do, with the good. And thanks to CoStar, I do have some good to lead with this morning. So I don't know if you guys picked up on it. CoStar issued a report this past month that is projecting a shortage in office space that's looming for 2024 and the forthcoming years. Well, that might sound counterintuitive to everything else that we've heard thus far this year. So here's their reasoning. Their reasoning is up to 1/3 of existing office space is going to pretty much vanish off the market, whether it be repurposed, whether it be deconstructed, or what have you, or foreclosed. Is going to be, they're projecting 1/3 of existing office space to be off the market. When you couple that with another fact that construction of Class A space is heading towards an all-time low, as companies are now repivoting and reevaluating and going back to the in-office experience, they are projecting that in 2024 and the years to follow, there's going to be a lot more competition because it's a supply-demand issue. There's a lot more players that are going to be vying for that commercial, that Class A space. So I'm hoping that there are opportunities there. Another report by the Urban Land Institute had some good news, and they are forecasting that 2024 will represent the Great Reset in CRE. Actually, in real estate, not just limited to CRE, but they're projecting 2024, and they're naming it the Great Reset. Many reasons why. So I'm just going to highlight a few. I'm not going through the whole thing with them. They are expecting a rebound in retail, which is a good forecast. Hybrid work, the real is not going anywhere. And the real focus of their report was that they focused on all the commercial debt that's maturing. And with that maturation of all this commercial debt and inability to refinance, well then, there's going to be opportunities there for well-positioned investors. So if you are representing any well-positioned investors out there, there are opportunities that they'll be able to seize in 2024 and beyond. A couple other issues, really the only other two things that I want to highlight in their report is that downtowns will continue to be reinvented. The Farmingdales, the Patchoughs of the area that is going to spread. There's that lifestyle, that work-life play allure of these downtowns. Please silence your cell phones.
You lose bathroom privileges for the rest of the meeting.
What the hell was I talking about?
Transit villages.
Thank you.
Transit villages.
So we'll keep an eye on that. And the last thing that's worthy of note is you may recall I spoke about AI in the past, and a couple of reasons why, how it will be very useful in our industry. And I highlighted, property searches, descriptions, and deal analyses and whatnot. But two other things that AI is going to bring to the table in the forthcoming year, which I found very interesting, is fraud protection and the assessment of climate risks for potential deals. So I thought that was very, very, very interesting. So AI is going to become more and more of a player in our industry. All right, so that's the good. That's a lot of good news to give you, right? The bad. Can't leave, it's always followed. I'm not going to give you anything new this month. We spent enough time last month on the Citra class action suit. And I just want to point out that, as I had stated last month, that there will be a ton of copycat cases throughout the country. Guess what's going on? There's a ton of copycat cases throughout the country. And quite frankly, we've only seen the tip of this iceberg. They will continue to come down. Now, if you're not familiar with the Citra, these are challenges to NAR policies of clear cooperation and their offer of compensation rule that they violate antitrust laws. This came across my desk since last month. Okay, I can email this to anyone of you. You can take this. I don't care. But this report is not really a report. I was telling how before. This is more of an advertisement. This is an advertisement for a real estate coach, a realtor coach. But although it's an advertisement, it is a very good, clear, concise, easily understandable synopsis of not only the claims that were alleged in Citra, but all the other copycat cases that are currently pending, where they're pending, and the status of those suits. So if you like this, just to bring you up to speed on where these antitrust suits are, it's a really good analysis. I can certainly, it's a simplistic analysis. It's easily understandable, and it's a good reference. So I can email that to anybody that's going to. Okay, now for the politically ugly. As you know, we're entering the second year of a 2-year legislative session, and I have to say it's my duty to remind you, put it on your calendars, March 27th. That is NYSAR's lobby day. So if you feel that you have the ability to take a trip up to Albany in March to advocate for our industry, NYSAR will be happy to have you. Now, just yesterday, I was on a board council meeting, and one of our guest speakers was Mike Kelly, which you may know, because Mike Kelly actually came to our meeting right around this time last year, I think, if I'm not correct. He came and spoke here, and Mike, I forget his official title, I think it's executive in charge of government affairs of NYSAR or something like that, but he's NYSAR's head lobbyist. So he's really got his nose to the grindstone. He's got his finger on the pulse of what's happening up there in Albany. And we just had a meeting together yesterday, and he shared with us some of his expectations or projections for 2024. And I'll share some of those with you. He pretty much confirmed what everybody else has been saying, is that Governor Hochul is going to pull back from her housing compact that she tried to get through this time last year, which had housing mandates for local municipalities. Instead, she's going to reinvent that. Okay, likely not to go the mandate route, but likely go the incentivizing route, and restructure the housing compact to accomplish those goals. Mike is of the opinion that in order for her to get that through, she's going to have to toss in some sort of tenant protection to get it done, whether that be good cause eviction or something else or some other invention. That's yet to be seen, but we can probably, Mike expects, and I certainly will defer to him, that there'll likely be an omnibus bill coming out in 2024 to cover both the housing compact as well as some further tenant protections. Mike also confirmed that the Tenant Opportunity to Purchase Act will be revitalized and put to committee again this session. That is a bill that will require all multifamily homes that are going up on the market to offer to their tenants or a consortium of tenants the first right to purchase. You can only imagine the constitutional challenges to this type of a law. I think the day it gets passed, if it gets passed, the next day somebody will be challenging it. But we're likely to see some sort of reinvention of that. Co-op Transparency Act on the state level, again, will be reintroduced. That is to require co-ops to issue reasoning for denials. Now, co-ops have vehemently been objecting to this bill for some time, for the reason that they don't want to expose their board members to any potential liability. If this law was passed, they claim that it would be very difficult for them to have any volunteers to sit on the board of these co-ops. And last but not least, they're still going to take another bite at the apple and try to prevent you guys from collecting brokers' fees from tenants in the rental space. That bill will be reintroduced again. That will prohibit agents from collecting rental fees from agents. We'll see if it gets
buyers to pay.
Well, back to Sitzer Burnett again. Yeah. Well, now this is the state level. That was a federal court too. So New York is a world in and of itself. So there's certainly a lot of, hopefully, a lot of good to be looking forward to in 2024 and beyond. There's some politically charged issues that will be hitting the plate, and as you venture into 2024, I invite you to please focus on what I try to focus on. Someone said this to me a while ago, and I've even said it here before. I think it's worth repeating. The Chinese word for crisis, and I think we can all agree we're pretty much in a crisis right now. Chinese word for crisis consists of two characters. The first is danger, and the second is opportunity. So I challenge you to, going into 2024, is identify your dangerous opportunities and seize them. Thank you for your time. If anyone has any questions, you can reach me at 6313. Oh, forget it. Paul has a question.
We don't have a speaker this morning, so we can spend a minute. Let me know if I need the mic. Am I picking up? Okay.
I'm going to disagree with the idea in terms of offices. I don't know in our lifetime if we are once again going to see 64 million tourists coming to New York City. We, prior to COVID, had 1 million people a day that would stream onto Manhattan Island in order to go to work. We're not seeing that. If we look at ridership on commuter railroads, is approximately 60% of what it was. Ridership on New York City subways is below 70% of what it was pre-COVID. That leads me to believe that people are not going to their offices on such a regular basis. Everyone I know in Midtown Manhattan, they're dependent upon lunch. So at lunch, if only 60% of the people are going there, you're losing 40% of your market. They used to have 250 times a year to try to sell you lunch. 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year, take 2 for vacation, that you'd have a real opportunity. That now is cut from 250 times to 150 times. If we look at Long Island, we can see that the lowest vacancy factor takes place in industrial. Why? Because many of the industrial properties in Brooklyn were rezoned. Those folks now are no longer in 1- and 2-story buildings. They're building 30 stories, they're building mid-rise, they're building high-rise, and that's great for residential. But now those tenants come out that tighten up the market on Long Island. So that has the lowest. Number 2 is the vacancies that we have in retail. And let's face it, you don't have, how many people here, let me try this just as a poll. How many people here think 50% of retail has gone to the internet? 40%? 30%? It's not even 20% in reality. So we still need retail spaces, and retail space indeed is the marketplace. where people get to see there, get to touch the fabric, get to see everything else and say, is this right for me? We need that social interaction. So,
Can I defend myself?
that's many, but I'm going one more. And let me go to your expectations in
You're
terms
saying them
of,
like they're mine. I gave you a report.
in terms of office. And in office, with a slackening of demand, I remember how everybody used to have their own desk in a real estate office. I've gone into a real estate office, see 36 licenses, and I walk in and there are 2 people sitting at 2 of 10 desks. And more offices are doing the same thing. You have a laptop, bring it in, plug it in, now you're in business. So if anything, if something is foreclosed on, that doesn't take it out of the marketplace. It's still there. It's just going to change ownership, or potentially change ownership,
In
either
another
restructure
7
that or
years.
do that. But in that time, now, when I started in commercial real estate on Long Island, I had started in Manhattan first. When I came out to Long Island, I was the first leasing agent on Huntington Quadrangle. Today, 2/3 of it is being changed to residential. So there's a change of use. But I don't see that that is significantly tightening up the office market or creating additional demand for Class A, Class B.
Well, that was the report. Somebody else have a question?
I just had a question for Paul.
Please.
When you stated that internet shopping is less than 20%. I have to think that there are categories like groceries that keep that number high, the number of real hard brick and mortar high, but there are probably other categories that might even go away. Would you think?
Understand Instacart and Peapod and things like that are growing for instant gratification. Fresh Direct had to quadruple their square footage because of the demand for online shopping for food. People are willing to trade dollars, the consumers are willing to trade dollars for convenience, and that's what they're doing.
Which brings us back to last month's comment that I had, cold storage. It's on the up. Go ahead, Larry.
No, I just wanted to support Paul in regards to what he just said. In a very simple, I have 3 friends that have been living in the city for over 30 years. And one's in Chelsea, one's on the Upper East Side, and one's right by Gracie Mansion. And he's a family member, all respected business professionals. And each one of them are now wavering if they should stay in New York City. So I never, ever heard that, and I don't think we ever heard that. And only about a few years ago, I'm not going to say at home, but there was a couple of people that were saying they don't feel that the city will be what it was in our lifetime. So I just wanted to support what Paul said on that, because on a very personal level, and it's purely subjective, but I'm getting a lot of that now. And they're also talking for the first time, and these people are very comfortable people. And they're also saying, in addition to that, the costs have just been going ridiculous to the point where, and then of course the safety and all of that. So I'm a city boy kid, but I think what Paul's saying has a lot of merit. That's all I want
If I
to
can
say.
piggyback on what you just said, San Francisco is imploding.
Right.
It is no longer, friends of mine that live in the suburbs of San Francisco are afraid to go into the city. I remember in the first year that it was there, when Nordstrom's opened on Market Street, that this is great, this is going to be a terrific. Other big box retailers followed. Today, they are all closed. I've been hired to dispose of a restaurant, a major restaurant in Chicago. They're down 30% in sales. River North is the only portion of the city that is still vital and thriving, and nighttime great to go to dinner there. The rest of the city is sinking. We definitely have to figure out now the reason why people live in the city. Okay, we're empty nesters, let's go back to the city. we can go, this is where the arts are, this is where the museums are, rather than schlep in, I wanna be there, I wanna feel that vitality. We wanna see that happen and maintain in New York City, and I think New York City, just because of the diversity of it, is going to have more endurance than some of the other American major cities. But a lot of the major cities, really, that's not where you want to be. It's gone and fallen to those who are least in a position to support it and grow it.
Thank you, Paul. So if anyone has any comments, if they would like any of the either reports or documents that I have referred to, please give me a call, shoot me an email. I can be reached at 631-390-0010. Thank you, everyone, and I wish you a very happy and blessed New Year's and holidays.